Okay, so the first video I wanted to do on my new channel is a pedalboard demo, because I spend a lot of time buying, looking at pedals, and I've even started making my own now. So I wanted to sort of show you what I've put together so far, so then if I get new pedals I can add them to this and make videos on the new pedals, so you know what I'm sort of starting with. So yeah, I'm just going to walk through each of the pedals on the pedalboard. Alright, so my first pedal is a TC Electronics Polytune, which obviously has the polyphonic tuning. I don't really use the polyphonic tuning, I just use the single tuner most of the time, so I do one string at a time. So that's really useful. So just... before I go any further, I'll just say I'm using my Fender Japanese Stratocaster, and I'm going into an orange micro dark into a 2x12 cab with a SM58 mic'd up on it. So probably you won't hear the exact sound I'm hearing because it's a close mic'd cabinet, but you'll get a rough idea of the kind of sounds I'm getting. So the set clean sound I've got is this. So it's very, very clean. Slightly mid-pushed on the amp, but not breaking up at all, even maybe slightly. And the reason I've got it set like that is because I like using fuzz pedals, and with an amp like this, if you have the gain up even slightly and you put a fuzz pedal into it, you just get, it just doesn't work at all. But I still prefer a pushed clean sound, so I get my pushed clean sound from the Boss Blues driver, which isn't the next in the chain, but it's kind of the next in the sound that I'm building, so I'll put that on. So this is before. It sort of adds a little bit of treble, cuts a tiny bit of bass, but not a lot, and then adds that little bit of gain. It's also pushing the amp slightly, but a lot of the gain's coming from the pedal. So that means on neck pickup I can get sort of quite clean sounds. But if I want to get more of a sort of crunch sound, I go on the bridge pickup and I can get sort of... So yeah, that gets that sort of push clean sound and a bit more treble into the sound, but it still lets me use the big muff which I've got after it. I suppose I'll keep talking about the drive pedals before I talk about this one. So my main drive sound is a Boss Metal Zone, which I kind of got for a joke, but actually my favourite band's Biffy Clyro, and he uses Strats with a Metal Zone, and I'd like to upgrade at some point because I'm not convinced by the sound of it really, but my friend bought it for 25 quid and then I swapped him another pedal I had for it, so I got it for next to nothing. It's not a great sound, but it's not a terrible sound for now. So I've got this running into the blues driver because I think it sounds slightly better like that. So yeah, it's very metally and fizzy, but I've got it set slightly mid-pushed with the bass and treble backed off, so you don't get that scooped sound too much. And I've got reasonable amount of drive, and it's mostly pushing this to get a bit of the drive out of this as well. It doesn't have a lot of clarity is the thing that I don't like, and mostly when I'm doing sort of big chords with a lot of voicings, I'm doing it clean. Most of the time I'm doing that clean. So it's not a massive problem at the moment, because a lot of the stuff I do with distortion I'm doing sort of single lines, but I'd like to be able to do chords a bit better as well. So some of the pedals I'm looking at are Stone Deaf Warp Drive, or the new Boss Angry Driver looked pretty good. So I've got a couple I'm considering, but it might be a while before I upgrade it because it's pretty usable for now, even though it's a bit of a meme. So yeah, that's that. And then after the blues driver, because I thought it sounded better like this, I've got my little big muff from Harmonix. This is obviously a much more scooped sound, so I just use this for big chords and sort of more sludgy sounds. So. So yeah, that's what that does. So I'll now talk about this, which is my favourite pedal on the board probably. And at the moment it's kind of annoying. This has got loads of settings. It does loads of weird filters and synthy sounds, but I'm just using it for an octave at the moment, so just... So it just adds a sort of octave. It's not polyphonic, so if you play a chord, it struggles a bit. But for just doing sort of single line stuff, it's pretty good really. But really, I want to get a dedicated polyphonic octave, maybe an OC3 or a pitchfork, because this has got loads of really cool sort of sounds like this, which if you put through this, and if you slow that down you can get really cool sort of, which again if you put distortion after it, that's the setting I want to use it for in particular. But for now I'm just using it as an octave, because an octave's kind of more important for the sound I'm going for. Yeah, I think if I get a dedicated octave pedal, then I'll use that for the filtering stuff. And I won't show you the other modes now, but I might do an individual demo on this pedal showing you some of the modes. I think it's discontinued now, but there's a lot of them second hand. I got mine for about 40 quid. Oh yeah, I'll just show you the octave with some... So yeah, it's pretty good for that sort of octavey sound, which I really like. The next pedal is an Ibanez FL9, which is a flanger, and I'm actually using it at the moment for a sort of chorusy sound. So I've got it set really high delay time, not much regeneration, but quite fast. So you get this sort of sound, which is more like a sort of fast chorus sound. It sounds a bit like I did use it for more of a kind of spaceshipy sound, and it can do that, but it's not very usable, that sort of sound, whereas that I can throw on a lot of stuff and it gets it to sound a bit more, I don't know, just a bit more interesting really. So I'll go like... And I also, it has a slight volume increase, so if I want to do a solo, I'll also use this for that. I do have a boost pedal, but I don't have enough power, patch cables, or space really. I suppose I could put it there. So this is quite a good little solo boost as well. So it's quite good for getting a sort of slightly louder boost there as well, but I mostly use it for that sort of chorusy sound, which I quite like on sort of spiky clean stuff. And then I've got this, which is my delay pedal, a flashback, and it's signed by the guitarist of Evanescence, because I actually won this pedal just for signing up to a mailing list. So I've got this set as a tape delay, quite a lot of repeats, but not too loud and quite quick. So without. So it almost acts as like a reverb and a delay really. So my sort of default clean tone is usually neck pickup, with this, sometimes this as well. So yeah, I'm not really feeling the need for a reverb pedal that much, because I think that does enough ambience. I also like the tone print that comes with it, which is like sort of an even more lo-fi tape delay with it's got like vibrato on it as well. So I use that a lot as well, but I'm liking the tape delay a bit more at the moment. And then I've got this, which my friend Oliver made me, which is just a kill switch, and I have it right at the end. So if I want to do, say I've got everything going, and I just want to do a big drop halfway through, I can do it with that. And it's completely dead then. Don't really use it for anything other than that, because I can mute with that if I'm between songs, obviously. And this is just a momentary sort of. So I could use it for stutter effects, but I mostly just use it for pauses. I'm going to do a couple of my favourite sounds, just like a run through, and then, yeah, that should be about it. thing I forgot to mention, I can also, if I put the metal zone into the big muff, I can use that just to get a load of feedback. So I can use that for just sort of noise between songs. So one other thing I wanted to mention was sort of blending the two drives. So this is obviously quite scooped and this is quite mid-pushed. So if I put this into this, it can make this a lot more present. So this is it sort of scooped. But if I put the metal zone into it, it gets much more present. There's also a lot of noise when you're not playing. But yeah, I'll show you what I mean. Obviously, yeah, quite a lot of noise. The things I want to add to it in the future, like I said, I want a dedicated octave pedal, maybe one that can go up and down, like the pitchfork was what I was looking at, because that can also do momentary, which would be pretty cool. I'd like a compressor, because when I'm doing sort of tapping type things, like sort of stuff like that. I need, I don't know, a compressor would help it stand out a lot. I was using a boost, but it doesn't do quite the same thing obviously as a compressor, so that'll level everything out and mean I can do a bit more tapping. The only other thing, I don't think I really want a reverb, because or I don't feel like I need one at the moment, maybe that'll change in the future. I would like a second delay, probably to get this kind of sound. So I really like Terramelos, and they do a lot of sort of slapback, like one repeats. They do a lot of one repeat slapback delays, like which I'd quite like. And then obviously if you lower that and add a load of feedback, you can get that sort of spring reverb, sort of oil can sound. That's obviously a bit of a acquired sort of taste sound, and it's not something I'd use all the time, but I actually quite like the effect of just sort of almost like a sort of ring modulator type thing. So I'd like maybe just a DD3 to put before the distortion and get slapbacks, that kind of sound as well. And then, yeah, that's about it. But all of those three I can kind of live without for now. So yeah, that's pretty much my pedal board, what I've got, the way I use it. So if anyone's got any recommendations on a drive pedal that's good for sort of Biffy Clyro, Octave, Arcane Roots type of sound, just let me know in the comments and I'll have a look, because this isn't exactly what I want for a long period of time. I should be making videos more and more now, so I'll demo some of these individually and do some other kind of stuff. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video.